Fitzy and Whipper with Kate Ritchie podcast.
I tell you what, I'm right into this. Watching Binge at the moment, and you want to watch episode 6 of The War, you can go to dailytelegraph.com.au/The War, but also Binge as well. You can watch it there. But we love getting Moz and also Josh in to talk about gang-related things in the Sydney area, and they join us now. Welcome, boys.
G'day, guys.
Morning.
Yeah, lovely to meet you.
I mean, perfect timing. What was it, that Lamborghini that was on fire?
Allegedly,
Yeah.
the Alameddines are involved in the firebombing of a $400,000 Lamborghini.
Wow.
2 guys with jerry cans,
Wow.
balaclavas, and as I said, singed eyebrows,
Yeah.
and leaving the scene.
Jeez.
So they've blown it up.
Do we know why?
I'm hearing, I know the police
Yeah.
are looking at this, that it's got crime links to the Alameddine crime network, which is an extensive network. Now, I've been told that the person who drives it is actually in a relationship with somebody who is very close to some senior people in that crew. As I
Right.
said,
Watch where you rest your head.
it's a very serious signal that to these guys, stay away from that woman.
So a lot of the Alameddines, though, are over in Lebanon now. I did see that you guys have been writing about this. They've gone over there to get away from Australia. Are you seeing, Josh, that a lot of them are getting out of the country now because there's too much pressure on them?
Yeah, absolutely. Particularly recently. I mean, this is a trend that's been going on for a number of years where high-profile individuals in the underworld have gone overseas to escape, New South Wales police or whatever it may be, or just because life's so tough for them here. They have Strike Force Raptor knocking down their door every other day, and so they think, well, stuff this, let's go overseas and live freely. But particularly recently, I think we've had, what was it, Moz? 80?
80 have left in the last 2 years.
Wow.
And of that, 20 are considered very serious crime figures. I sat down with a senior guy from State Crime, Jason Weinstein, who was telling us about it, and he said it's because of the police pressure. And if you notice, they're making a lot of arrests around these murders, a lot of it, mainly the guys who are pinching the cars or positioning the cars, allegedly. And what I think the crooks are worried about is this pressure is going upwards. That's what happens. You start getting the guys at the bottom of the tree involved in crimes,
Right.
and lead. So they've decided to leave.
In a situation like that, is it once a crim, always a crim? Do they go to Lebanon and continue to carry out the same sort of behaviour?
Well, what we've seen is technology's enabled that. So you've got these encrypted messaging services, phones, whatever it may be, that means you can run your drug business in Sydney.
So they just run it from Lebanon?
Yeah, they're not retiring necessarily. They're just kind of removing themselves from the hot seat.
So they're working from home as well.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Well, that's...
What's that called? Quietly,
From their homeland.
Quietly quitting.
Oh, my gosh.
So, Wednesday and Thursday.
Can you tell me, because I see the images, but I can never sure of the link to the stories. There was the guy who was shot at the gym with his kid in the car. Mm-hmm. What was his name?
Taha Sabaj.
Right. And was he the guy that was then arrested at the airport when he went to flee the country? The guy arrested, was he linked to the killing in that car?
Yeah, so they picked up a kid last week. I think he was mid-20s.
Oh, the big fella.
Yeah.
He had tattoos on his arms, if that's the bloke you're talking about. But he, they're not alleging he was the shooter, more that he was involved in preparing the cars that they use. We've talked about this before.
Yeah.
They burn out the getaway cars to destroy. So they have multiple cars set in position. I mean, people reckon there's hundreds of cars just sitting around Sydney ready to go at any time. Well, I know there was a couple of cars stolen on the northern beaches the other night.
Yes. So they prepare them, get them ready, and they'll use them in a...
They'll have petrol in them, won't they? Unlike you in your car. But
we had a bit of a run-in on the way.
No way. How do you get into the car? I mean, maybe I'm getting away from the bulk of the story here, but I'm thinking about logistics and getting somewhere on time. If there are all these cars sitting all around Sydney, how do you get into the car that you need to get into on that day? Is there like one key for all the sports cars?
They do have a multitude of tradesmen at their beck and call, including locksmiths, mechanics. One car, like the one that was used in the shooting of Gassim Mamoon, who changed his name from Hamzy for probably very obvious reasons.
Yeah.
That car was stolen from the North Shore 9 months earlier.
Wow.
And 4 months before that shooting, police put out a press release saying, we're looking for this car. We believe that it's been stolen to perhaps be used in a
crime.
in a serious crime.
Yes.
So what actually happens is
they just store them.
They store them. Yeah, they do. They put them in garages, canards. A lot of time is underground car parks in big unit blocks.
Right, gotcha.
And then put covers over them. Because
no one knows. Can I talk about the Comancheros? There's been talk now, Brighton Les Sands has been known as the area where the Comancheros have always been. I've heard that they've dispersed a little bit as well. Is there another gang that's coming in? And is this a big FU to the Comancheros to get into the Brighton Les Sands area and take over stuff there?
Well, the Hells Angels are on the rise.
Right.
That's really what we're...
Are they? So they still...
Yeah.
But you would think with Strike Force Raptor and stuff like that New South Wales would be a state that you would stay away from.
Well, yeah, but, if you...
It's where the drug market is.
Sydney's love of drugs is unparalleled, really.
Right. And we pay top dollar.
So,
apparently.
Yeah, right.
Can we wind back to that and go, well, can you tell us, I mean, for the busts that we see, right, and the large hauls that get caught and, X amount of cocaine or amphetamines coming into the country, what percentage that's sent do you think makes it?
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah.
Like, how much is on its way and how much makes the shore?
So literally, they were like... there was a 120-ton seizure done the other day. A lot of the time, they will write that off as it's like shoplifting. It's written off as part of your business that a certain amount is going to be seized.
We've got a waste factor built in.
Yeah, that's right.
You're going to win some.
Yeah, it's a bit like spillage at the pub,
Yep.
Yeah.
Especially those new bar staff.
Very sloppy.
You drinking the dregs there, Moss.
Bar closed 2 hours ago, Moss.
Mate, the old Journos Club never closed.
So how much gets in?
Enormous amounts. At the moment, there's so much there that there's talk that the bikie gangs and dealers are trying to get together, like they've done before, to try and hold back the supply to push the prices up.
You're kidding me.
The amount that's landed here recently is quite large. So it's about 195 to 200,000 a kilo landing on the dock now.
Right.
At one stage it was 350 to 400,000.
Prices have gone completely mad.
It's inflation. I mean, Albo's been elected.
Bruce.
He should look at it. I don't know whether he saw any at that. He went to a wedding recently, and I don't know whether he spoke to some people there about what he can do about inflation.
Who would have known?
Yeah.
What a guest list.
So in your latest episode 6 of The War, you talk about Majid Hamzi, and now the death of him, there's 400 kilograms of cocaine that's just gone missing.
Yeah, so Majid Hamzi was really probably the first big domino to fall in this gang war that's been happening in Sydney for the past 2 years.
So why was he killed?
Well, the
400 kilos.
The allegation is that there was 400 kilograms of cocaine that was brought in by the Comanchero, and it went missing. Apparently,
and they get really angry at that.
They don't like that. The allegation was that Majid Hamzi took it. Now, the cops, no one else on the street has ever seen any evidence that he had any hand in it, but it doesn't matter. You don't have to have there's no burden of proof in the underworld.
That's one of the allegations is why he was hit. And from there, it just kind of had a life of its own, and then it becomes a blood feud. But interesting, after like 2 years of investigating or being around this story, we're now starting to hear from some really senior people that 400 Ks never came off the dock. So that maybe it was seized by federal authorities or somebody else on its way over here.
He got blamed for it.
And I'll tell you what, there were a whole lot of guys that got kidnapped.
Wow.
And severely
tortured.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is another thing that we're seeing now. They're taking fingers and teeth.
There's a lot of that.
Yeah, there's not a lot of fingers and teeth left.
No.
And you're the guy that we were talking about before that got shot at the gym with the kid in the car. Why was he killed?
That's a really good question. And I don't think we have an obvious...
No, we don't.
There is no obvious answer.
There's a suggestion of mistaken identity. Now, that gym is... the people working out there are probably some of the heaviest people in Sydney. They're from Comanchero. They're from 2 or 3 very well-known crime families. That's like I said, to meet your crim contacts now, I used to go and drink down at the Covent Garden or the Shakespeare Hotel in Surrey Hills.
Yeah.
Now you got to
go to the gym.
Yeah, so that's what Josh does.
That's what Josh
Is that how you do?
I still
you
go
do your
down to the
research?
Covent Garden and look for the prims that aren't there anymore.
Wouldn't have got the face tat, Josh, but besides that, everything's looking good, mate.
Just before you go, recruitment-wise, is still a lot of kids that they're recruiting, or...?
Yeah, it's out of control. And even that, the break-ins that we're seeing to homes, they're using kids. I mean, I know one of the craziest things is that they've used kids who are so young and so small that they've snuck into houses through doggy doors to steal keys and then give it to the older boys who then take the...
That's what I've heard. That's like doing your apprenticeship, is to steal a car.
Because cars are so sophisticated now and so hard to steal, there's two ways you do it. Carjacking, right, where they just put the gun at you and tell you to get out, or they're doing what's called an aggravated break-in, where the keys are inside the house, so they have to go in to get them. Where in the old days, the screwdriver and the lock and away you go. Yeah. That's gone. So the big danger about that is some, people can get hurt because they're inside the house.
Absolutely. And I mean, you're talking about recruiting of young kids. If you're a parent and you've got young, teenagers, or I don't know how old you're saying these kids are, how is it happening? Like,
how do they get to them?
Yeah, like is it family related? Is it school related? Is it like, where are the risks of your kid kind of getting caught up in that stuff?
Yeah, it's all that. I mean, we're talking kids 10, maybe a little bit younger, 8, 9, some of them.
All
mainly, you're 15, 16, 17, that age group. But they can get really young, and it's school. It's you've got a relative who is involved in it, and you go along on a Saturday night. It's
you've got an older brother,
it's
and
like, you join the footy club. That some of us.
Well, they've actually
your
been
mate's
known.
brother played there. Well, this is the same thing but different.
One of the major crime figures was sponsoring junior rugby league and giving them jerseys and things, and then going to their football, and then
it's grooming, isn't it?
They groom them, and then Sancho, or I think they call them, or whatever they call them,
trainers.
And then they train and they give them money. They're influenced by rap. Meet your heroes. They groom them. So.
Yeah.
Wow. And how many years do you think Fitzy would get for his fashion crimes with that jacket on this morning?
Wow. That's cool. Oh, no, we've got Ralph Lauren over here. I mean, Moz,
I walked in with
how long would have he lasted in some of the pubs that you drank at over the years, Moz?
Not very long. I walk in
with lock him up, Moz.
No, for a Crows man, that is very Port Adelaide.
Yeah, that is
very Port Adelaide.
Even,
it's 20 years
Josh,
in that.
Do
Josh,
not even bring it up.
One thing we in episode 6, getting quite serious, is that we canvassed the murder of two women. Right, one of them is Lametta Faldala, right, who was known to have gone out with a couple of gangsters, and the other one was her hairdresser, who just happened to be in the car.
She was
right.
And now that, everyone said that was one of the most shocking things in Sydney. You've got two women gunned down on their way out to go on a Saturday night, and I think we talk about it, a lot of people go, well, mate, they don't shoot women, that was supposedly.
Yeah.
Well, I keep trying to point out, they've been killing women for years. I mean, Sally Ann Huckstep was murdered because she dared to speak out. It's just the way they're doing it now that we canvass. They never used to gun a woman down like she was a crime figure.
No.
What would they do?
Hot shots mainly, and strangling and...
Hot shots?
Oh, well, a heroin
overdose.
It looked like a heroin overdose, except for it was pure heroin. And a lot of informants died from overdoses in the 80s.
Yeah, right.
But they were, in fact, hot shots where they'd been given loaded up heroin.
God.
So that's how it's changed a little bit.
It is.
That's
interesting. Quality where they just go and spray them with bullets.
Jeez. You can go see it on Binge, but also if you want to go to dailytelegraph.com.au/The War, episode 6 of The War is up now. Josh, Moz, thank you very much for coming in, boys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, team.
Fitzy and Whipper with Kate Ritchie is a Nova podcast. For more great comedy shows like this, head to novapodcast.com.au.